Where my sister wins, I win at the Sisters Cafe.
Hey everybody, it's your girl, Gladys B, here for our last segment of the year. 2025 has come and is about to go. Here we are, a few hours before the year 2026. Wow. I remember when it was 1999 and 2000 was coming, and we thought that was a big deal. And here we are now in 2026. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? But today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to recap some of my favorite conversations, some of my favorite guests, a few of my favorite guests, not all of them, but a few of my favorite guests of Sisters Cafe. I've learned a lot. I've met people. I've made connections. I've made friends along the way. I've helped some people. People have helped me. And at the end of the year now, I have no complaints. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And I'm privileged that God saw fit to let me see this day. He didn't have to. He doesn't have to wake us up every day. He doesn't have to give us the grace to go and to move and to go out the door and come back in, to drive around, to do everything we need to do on a regular basis. He's a good, good God. He's a good, good Father. And I would be remiss not to give him all the glory. All of it belongs to him. All of it belongs to him. But here are a few of my favorite guests and moments. Don't forget, we got that I Win conference coming up 2026, March 27th and 28th. For all those who will, I am asking you to help me bring this conference to life. This is my baby, and I'm asking all those who support me, who watch, who follow. First of all, thank you. But second of all, go to the website and give or see what you can do to volunteer or whatever God puts on your heart. I am asking that you reach out, www.sisterscafeinc.com, and do whatever you can to help me bring this to life. I'm super excited, but remember, we are here for the I Win Conference, March 27th and 28th in Houston, Texas. Y'all, I am beyond excited about this, and I cannot wait to see you. Here's a recap of 2025.
Because when my sister wins, I win.
Have tried to navigate as a leader in the church. We were taught to leave our problems, our feelings, and whatever we got going on at the door.
Yeah.
And although I understand that's good, it teaches us to suppress.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches us to never mind. It teaches us not to care about what we're going through. You asked me a question when we met, and I've been thinking about that ever since. Why don't I feel worthy enough or important enough to put myself before this or before that? And it's funny because I actually ask people that in my book. Why is what they need more important than what you need? And I had to think about it. You told me don't answer. I didn't have to answer right then. I can just think about it. And it brought me back to that. That is what we're taught. My feelings don't matter. My health doesn't matter. Nothing matters except that I show up at church and do what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And it became a behavior which spilled over into my entire life, relationships, jobs, children. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody else was more important because my goal, my core is to serve. And that's even today. So I am still working on learning balance with that because I am important. I am worth it. I am God's grace, in human form. So yes, I do deserve it. If I work for it, yes, I can buy it. Now, I'm not trying to go into debt or nothing like that, but no, what other people need is not more important. That was okay when my children, yes, of course, what my children need, but those children are grown and got children. So that doesn't still apply. My son sometimes says, "Well, mom, you're my mom." Like, yeah, bro, but you grown, with wife and some kids. So um, it's still, I would be a lie if I didn't tell you it was still a battle, because although I know better, and I'm a servant.
Yeah.
I'm a servant in the house of the Lord. I will clean the toilet, or I will get up there and do Sunday morning, and everything in between. So it doesn't matter. But I've learned to serve, which means other people come first. So the balance is I have to learn what the balance is. And maybe that's something you can help me and abundance of other leaders. Maybe that's something you can help us with.
Yeah, so a couple of things were coming to my mind, and I instantly was thinking about servant leader and what that looks like. Um, so in every season of our lives, it looks a little bit different how we're showing up. And I believe that sometimes we can function from a certain level for a certain amount of time to where it becomes our normal. And it's hard to retract that, or it's hard to unlearn that. So it may be some unlearning that needs to take place in order for some new approaches or perspectives to begin to take root. Because if you were raised a certain kind of way, and or just being a mom or a wife, or just wearing the multiple hats, it just comes with the territory, right? To serve and to give and to prioritize.
Right.
But even being a servant leader, what place are you serving from if you're not pausing for yourself? What are you pouring from?
Right.
And so being able to say, you know what, my body or my mind or even God is telling me to slow down. It's telling me to pause, telling me to rest. Even Jesus pulled away from the disciples.
Right. Right.
Look, he was asleep and they like, Jesus, it's a full-blown storm right now. Like, what we gonna do?
Right.
And he's like, where's your faith? Like, it's good. We're good. And we can take that same analogy, apply it to life's storms, chaos, busyness. And we could be like this, and Jesus like, rest.
Right.
Just rest right here. I got that. I need you to rest so I can get that. But if we're not taking the time to do that, he's not going to intervene.
Right.
When you're ready, when you get tired of that, let me know when you're ready.
Right.
We can do this exchange, because it's not supposed to look like this. It's a different approach that he wants us to take. And one thing that I've learned is, because life circumstances, responsibilities, it had me in a place of surviving.
Okay.
Not living, surviving. And in that way, God's like, that's gotten you to the point you're at now. At that point that I realized it's gotten you to this point. You got the degrees, you got the career, you got this and this, accomplished that and that. But have you lived?
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you just shared. This is the story over my 3 decades of doing this. Your story is my story. It's a lot of women's story. And one of the greatest disservices that we do to our children unknowingly, okay? And so let me preface this by saying the biggest tragedy in our society is that there is money is that subject that you have to pursue. It's not given to you. Nobody teaches you. Think about when you were going from grade school all the way up through college, you may have had how to balance your checkbook or whatever, but nobody really taught us how to manage money,
No.
how to maximize it, or how to multiply it. How does money work?
Right.
And so what ends up happening is what you explained. I did it with my children. We tried to give them everything, but we didn't give them the most important thing, which was the knowledge. It was the wisdom. And so then this is how generational patterns, because money is not a curse. It's not a curse because money is there, but it's generational patterns of thinking and our way of handling money that gets passed down from one generation to the next. And so then we end up creating debt because we don't know any other way to provide for our children or for life, for things that we want. Then moving to we as women, how did I get here? Well, I got here partly recognizing just in trying to manage for my family, because a lot of money was passing through my hands. So I grew up like you. I didn't grow up in, disenfranchised situation. We traveled the world. I lived overseas for really the first 30 years of my life, you might as well say, the formative years. We lived overseas, but I didn't see money. We were just given what we needed, or we were given what we asked for, but nobody sat down and said, you need to set a budget, or you need to set up a savings plan, or you need to start investing or protect. None of those conversations were happening, right?
None.
And so now I have my own family, and my husband was in the military at the time, and they got called up to go to Iraq. And here I am with 3 small children, and the threat of, oh my goodness, this is a war. What if he goes away and doesn't come back? Fear entered. How am I going to raise 3 children on my little, I was making good money with the government, but it wasn't enough money. All right. And so that was my first wake up call that made me as a woman recognize that by myself, I didn't own anything. And I wish I could say overnight no. And I want the audience to understand, when we're talking about your relationship with money, this is the stronghold that the Bible talks about. And it's the thing that holds you strong because it's the way you've been conditioned. And so unless you're willing to totally go through a reprogramming, well, there was nobody around me to lead me in that reprogramming. So I had to figure it out on my own. And that's when I recognized, wait, I can help a whole lot of women. And just this week alone, leading up to us having this broadcast, I've talked to 5 different women who are going through life transitions, and their number one issue is finances.
Yes.
It's not having their own financial identity. And so I began to build mine. And like I said, it was a journey, and it's still a journey in progress. Let's be real. It was a journey of learning, unlearning and relearning, and unlearning and relearning. And I don't think that part of it ever stops, but it does get better. Once you get out of the weeds of what you've built debt wise and otherwise, it does get better. And so that's what motivated me, is when I recognized that, wait a minute, there's a whole lot of women in this situation. And if anything were to happen, to their, and it wasn't even the thought of my husband maybe dying, but he could have came back disabled. You understand? I teach what's called the 5 Ds of financial disruption. And of course, disability is also one of those. And so it made me look at myself as an individual, as a woman, and say, can you raise your kids if it was just depending on your income? What kind of lifestyle would you be able to give them? And so it's not, my take on it is not the getting rich. It is the getting safe and getting secure, and really tapping into what your life goals are. Yeah. So Power Her Money Story was really just for this month of Women's History Month.
Okay.
And so for the entire month of March, and I don't know, because it's catching on. I've had so many inboxes.
Right.
Like, I love this Power Her Money story. And so I think we got, you know how you stumble on something? Well, I think this is one of those things we stumbled into, and we're going to have to keep going. But I thought about Women's History Month. And one of the facts that a majority of women do not know is that women did not have financial rights to own a bank account in their name or to own property in their name until 1974. I was 10 years old in 1974.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of women don't know that. You could not have a credit card in your name. You could not own a bank account in your name, and you could not own property in your name. It had to be in your father's name or your husband's name.
Why?
Because women didn't have rights. Women didn't have voting rights, right? You know, so when we think about it, women have always, this is really good. And this is what Power Her Money story is about, is waking women up to create their own, to get in touch with what their money story is, but then to create the money story they want, not the money story they've been given.
I like that.
And that's what it's about. But yeah, just that one history fact, when I share it, most women are like, what? Huh? You know, and I was like, yeah, go Google it. When did women have rights to own property or to have their own bank account?
I mean,
or even work outside of the home?
Around the corner. That was right. It was just now. Like,
yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
But how did we survive then? Because there's a lot of single moms. There is no husband. There is no father. How did they get by?
So you remember, really prior, now we're getting into history, and I'll just say it, you know, date wise, prior to 1968, we were dealing with a whole nother set of not having rights and being separated, segregated, or whatever. And so this is why one of the segments that I do is I bring women from each generation, because we have 6 generations living right now. And it's amazing to hear the mindset from each generation based on their time frame coming up, because they were under a totally different society was totally different when these women were coming through. And so we hear about the Rosa Parks and we hear about the Madam C.J. Walkers. Those women were the exception. They were not the rule. They were the exception. They were the barrier breakers. And that's what we're looking for now. We need women to become barrier breakers again.
Not that it can be compared, but it's like losing someone to death, except they're still here. You know, they're still here. You can physically see them or hear about them or whatever the case is. They're still alive, but it's really the death of that relationship is so traumatic. It's the dreams, the hopes, and the whole entire life that you had built around or with that person is gone. And it does take some mourning.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So how long do you, I guess we can't put a time on anybody's grief or the ability to overcome, but what would you tell somebody who's struggling with overcoming a divorce?
I'm somewhat of a matter-of-fact-ish kind of person. So once the tears had fallen, once the heartbreak was processed, there comes a time it came a time for me when I had to ask myself the question, are you going to lay here and die? Or are you going to get up and go? What are you doing? Because you can't do both. No. And it was a matter of, the thought came to me was, he didn't make you, so he can't break you. Right. So I have to dig myself out of that hole and that victim mentality to understand My creator still lives. And there is a set number of days that he has given me that was different from my husband's days. He had his own set number of days, his own purpose, and his own reason for being here. Likewise, so did I. And so now I had to look to the Father, and I'm telling you, that's all I really did in the process, was really kind of beg and focused on the Father as to what is it for me? Where's my life going? But I understood in my mind that he didn't make me. This man didn't make me. No matter what he has done or didn't do, he cannot break me. I am unbreakable. I have an unbreakable will that was given to me by my Father. And so now let me go look for my purpose. Let me go figure out what God has in store for me. That's what helps me.
Wow. Wow. Now let me ask you this too. Is it you've been through several things.
Oh,
you know, you've had
well,
trials.
I didn't tell you that I married that same husband twice. I married him for 30 years. I married him for 30 years. Then I divorced him for 2, and then married him again for 1.
Isn't it supposed to work out better the second time?
Well, yes. So you think. So you would think so. But again, the reasons why I wanted to be married and and his is probably 2 very different things.
Okay.
I wanted to honor God. I really just wanted one husband and just live that out for the rest of my life. So no matter what he did, I was willing to, short of violence,
Right,
I was willing to figure out a way to turn it over to Jesus and he would work it out.
Right, right.
And understanding that people are people and we all come here with our issues and different idiosyncrasies. And so he has his, I have mine. And putting those things together to get along in a peaceable situation is not always easy, but it's worth the try. You have a lifetime to try. And so that was my concept of it. So when he came back and said he was sorry and, it was his fault and we could make it work, I was excited. I was glad to be married again because I wanted to be married. Never wanted to be in those streets.
Right, right. Because they ain't nice.
There ain't nothing out in them streets.
That's amazing, though. That's amazing because I think as women, that is our heart's desire.
Yes.
I'm not saying it ain't some that's okay with doing what they do, but the majority of us desire to have one husband, one father for all of our children, because that's the idea. That's the ideal.
That's the ideal.
That's what we're raised, though. That's what we're taught. That's biblical. You know what I mean? So we think about that. So it's like, I don't know. I have to say your reasoning was my same reasoning for staying as long as I did in domestic violence. But what did happen is when I decided to be 100% mommy, it is the best thing in the world. Like, I can't as much as I was goal driven, I can't imagine not being mommy or not being grandma. Like, them little kids, them little ones. Yeah. I feel like mush when I have them. It's ridiculous. My kids have a dog. Her name was Melody. And every time we get to the house, she gets the wagon really hard, but she ends up peeing on herself every time. She's so excited, she's just peeing. And I remember thinking about that's how I feel. Now I don't pee on myself, but that's how I feel when I get to see my kids around and my grandkids. It's like, but even the boys, I feel like I'm a fan of all my boys. Like,
I mean, you like when you think about who they have become is a lot of the reason why they become those people, these wonderful people, is because of you.
Wow.
Like, that's so rewarding. So of course it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that I had a hand in this amazing person,
It was years ago after I moved, Elder Landon texted me. He said, but I'm sitting here He said, and I'm looking at your 3 greatest accomplishments. And I had never in my life thought about it that way. Milton was on the organ and directing, doing service. Deontay's on the drums, and Gary's doing the music.
Yep.
You know, and he was like, I'm at all right now.
Yeah.
You know, for him to watch me grow up, then he's watching my kids grow up. Now he's meeting my grandkids. You know, it's just, but I had never thought about it that way, but they are. They are. And I'm
3
glad I
black
chose
men.
mommyhood.
That's an accomplishment. 3 very strong and accomplished black men, and still not done with what they're gonna do. You know, the Lord's not done. And I mean, it's huge.
And it was worth it. It was worth it. Because I used to be thinking I'm gonna be too old to do all the things I want to do. But I mean, most people don't know, but I just enrolled back in school.
Come on now.
That 20-year-old degree that I was working on when I was with them, now I'm getting ready to finish.
Why not? It's not too late.
It's not.
The Lord has a way of preserving us. You already know that.
He does.
So,
you have diverse research now. Can you please tell us a little bit about that?
yes. So, diverse research now is a passion of mine. It's an organization, nonprofit organization that I founded due to the lack of diversity in clinical research. So the reason why I founded the organization, I am a clinical researcher, research scientist, and I've been in the field for 20 plus years. And I, as a research scientist, I've seen the lack of diversity in research, and this is how we find our medications. You know, this clinical research process is how we come up with medications for people who's gonna take them, right? And so it's super important to have everybody involved. Historically, clinical research has been done mostly with white men only. And so because they were, you know, they have always been the superior ones in our society, of course, you know. So a lot of times the research has only included them and their story and their voice and their background. And of course, we don't all have that background. We're not all white. So it's so important. We all know that the U.S. is so diverse. We have many colorful people here and different backgrounds, and everyone has to be considered when we're coming up with medications that are going to work. So everyone has to be involved. So that is what our organization does. It really brings awareness to this problem in the world, and we educate. We provide education about it, about research, because people are very hesitant, warranted hesitation, because the Black community especially has so many injustices that have happened to them. And so, they're fearful or have been fearful about either healthcare overall, you know, and let alone trying to get involved in research. But we need them. We have to be able to look, consider our environment, our background, and what's going on inside of our community for us to find answers to all these health conditions. And you probably have noticed that we're usually the ones with these, we usually have the health conditions, right? We have the high numbers of everything.
So is that why the fear? So we know that in times past, I mean, off the top, I think of Tuskegee Airmen. Is that why minorities don't participate, or do they not know that they can?
Yeah, that has been a big reason. Tuskegee, what happened back then and with the men there not being treated properly in the research they were taking part in is a big reason why people are hesitant. However, recently we found that it's more so that people are just not being asked to be a part of research.
Okay, I'm glad you pointed that out because I'm gonna be honest, I am one of the fearful ones.
Yeah.
I don't really particularly like when the doctor tells me, let's try this.
Uh-huh.
Wait, whoa, what you mean? Like,
Yeah.
try? So it scares me. It scares me because it's just, oh, let's try. And it's so nonchalant. Like, oh, let's try this medicine. It may cause diarrhea, bone loss, and death, but go ahead and try it. And then if it don't work, let's try something else. To me, that bothers me. So how can we get over that?
So a lot of the reason why the doctor is telling you as a Black woman to try this is because they really don't know. Remember I said a lot of the medications have been tested on white men.
Right. That's
so
crazy.
That means that the medication that you're taking probably wasn't tested on people that look like you. So again, yes, you know, there's hesitation, but our answer to the hesitation is to educate.
Okay.
That's the answer. Like, okay. and your doctor can say, oh, let's try this, but I encourage people to do their own research. Okay. and to get a second opinion and to don't just take I don't know. I would just not just take a medication. I would definitely research it before.
The example, all these things that come out and then later on there's an issue. Like now they have a big old thing about Depo-Provera. You know, now it causes this, and people have been on it for years. And then they just put out the COVID, was it Pfizer? And they're saying the COVID shot have been known now to cause, but it was a long list of big things, not like cough or rash. We're talking about kidneys failing, you know, heart going out. It's going to cause all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of scary.
Okay, so let me tell you, of course, everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
So you are going to have people that have different reactions to drugs.
Got it.
Okay, so it doesn't mean everybody had that reaction, but but as a ethically, a research company has to report everything that someone dealt with while they were taking a drug.
Oh.
So they have to report everything, and they have to tell you this, you know, doesn't mean that that's exactly what's happened to you because it's a different person, you know, but they do have to tell you. I mean, they have to tell you the risk, and what other people experience does not mean you will experience that.
Okay.
I mean, but that's why it's so important to be followed when you're on these medications, to be followed and keep track of what you're feeling.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Thank you for explaining that, because all I can think about is, oh my God, I'm getting ready to get this or this or this, or I'm gonna grow feathers, or you know what I mean? It's like, because it's scary. It's scary. Because we're not talking about, again, we're not just talking about I might get a rash or something. We're talking about death, you know, heart failure, kidney failure. It's big things. So when people don't want to get certain vaccinations and things like that, you know, I don't be bugging. It's to each his own, because you got to live your own life. You know what I mean? So I don't tell nobody they got to get nothing, but I'm very hesitant. I am when the doctors are saying, try this. Like right now we're doing like physical therapy and certain things for my back.
Mm-hmm.
But then they were like, okay, we're going to try this medication. No, we're not.
And we ended up in Texas Baptist Children's Home. My children had gone off to school, and I'm in like 4 walls and in the middle of the floor just crying. And I'm trying to reclaim my life. I'm trying to figure out how in the world did I get here? Like some things happen, and it's like you look up and like, how did I get in this space? How did I get here? And
Right.
never in my wildest dreams, I never would. So now I'm trying to just pick up all the pieces. I come from having a business and getting clients and all this stuff to a totally different city, a totally different state. And in the, women's shelter with the degrees and with this and that and other. And now it's like, how did I get here? Now this is my defining moment, crying, and I'm asking the Lord, how am I to rebuild? What am I to do? How am I supposed to move ahead? And Philippians 4:13 came to me. It was like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I said, I do not want to hear that. That is not what I said. That ain't it. We're going to try again. I'm still crying. I'm like, Lord, that's not it. I need something else. That's not working for me. I done been holding on to that for so long. It's not happening. And so he said, Christy, what's your I can? That was my defining moment of me being able to reclaim my life, because he says, I put the power again in your hands. I gave you the power. I gave you meaning the abilities, the skills. What is it? I feel like God has given me the, ability to communicate, to be a speaker, to organize, and to, be able to gather people who are in different stages of their life and give them clarity about where they are, helping them to leave a 9-to-5 and build a business that they love. God has given me these skills, and this is my power. And so he says that I gave you power. Again, Deuteronomy 8:18, I give you the power. That was my defining moment. And once he said, Christy, and I'm an inquisitive person, so he knew, like, I got to ask her some questions. I got to put the ball back in her corner. So, Christy, what's your I can? And so in that moment, I heard that, I picked myself up. I dried my tears. It's like the tears just stopped. And I was like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, this means I have control over my life. He gives me everything I need pertaining to life and godliness. This means through Christ, I can do all things pertaining to what he has given me. And so that was and that's when I started writing my book. That's when I started to reclaim my life. That's when I got LLC. This is when I started to have my first in the women's shelter. I was doing all of these things.
What?
I didn't wait until I came out. My God, I did not wait until I got out. I said, oh, he power to get wealth. Oh, so that means whatever I plan and whatever I'm going to do this now. I'm going to use the power that he gave me now and not wait until the right moment, the perfect time, the perfect season, the perfect, I hope my first, speaking event, and I started to help companies, with their events and so forth. So all of this in a women's shelter.
Understand this, though. This is what we're focused on. Disappointment is a temporary feeling that will pass. This too shall pass. And we're going to do this together. A lot of us can't take it's disappointment it's not a good feeling. And it can lead you to not have expectations at all. But what we don't want to do is get rid of our hope. We need hope. Hope breeds purpose. Hope breeds expectations. Hope breeds happiness, right? We need hope. We need hope, because without hope is what? What? It's nothing. The anticipation itself, when you anticipate something or you expect something, the anticipation of that thing gives us this dopamine high. Like, I'm excited. We about to do this. We about to go do it. It's 2025. All that. We're excited. We about to do this. We about to go here. We about to get married. We about to get a house. We about to get a kid. Whatever it may be. We've been excited before. We've expected things. We've expected big checks. We've expected bonuses. We expect promotions and awards and people to love us and people to show up for us. And, we expect so many things. And in that expectation, we have this dopamine high. But when those expectations are not met, we feel let down. We feel so let down. It can feel like a serious betrayal because of your disappointment. It really can. Research shows that all that dopamine that was generated by the anticipation is gone. And then we automatically feel low. That's why you could feel like you feel hopeless. You feel useless. You start to say things like, what's the use? Why did I even do that? I knew that was going to happen. I ain't even tripping. And the biggest one that we hide behind is, it is what it is, right? Some people say, stuff happens. It is what it is, or it's whatever. Some of us really mean it because we've learned to manage expectations so that it doesn't knock us off our horse every time something doesn't go our way. Because believe it or not, if you haven't learned it yet, there are many things that will not go the way you plan. Real talk. So what are the things that we allow to set us up for disappointment? And most of the time we do this to ourselves. We set ourselves up for disappointments. For example, over exaggerating your place in somebody else's life. Ooh, when I tell you, when you learn that you don't mean what you thought you meant to somebody else, it's a big hurt. It's a big hurt when you find out that people can drop you that quick in a heartbeat without notice, without explanation, without regret, remorse. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. So let's break down the common causes of disappointment. One, unrealistic expectations. We're expecting perfection from ourselves, and we expect perfection from others. There's a lot of times where we won't allow people to just be who they are. We, at times, expect them to do what we do, act like we act, respond like we respond, like what we like, go where we go. We expect that. I did this for you, so therefore you should be doing that for me. That's not real life. That is not real life. Where you might like to shop and give gifts, I don't like to shop. I'm going to just send you a gift card. It's not going to be the same way. It is not going to be the same way. And we must, for our own sake, allow people to be who they are. Let them do what they do. If that's how they love you, let them love you how they love you, not how you want them to love you because that's how you love them. I mean, but I was so determined to take care of my kids and reach my goals.
And
because I have to take care of them. They there.
Right.
Nothing I can do about it. I can't put them back because it ain't gonna work. So, but I really was so goal oriented. It was. I feel like God's been giving me ideas since I was little.
Yeah.
When I was
I'm
little,
sure he has.
The only thing I wanted to do was build Grandpa some more churches.
See,
that's what I was
going to do.
Talk about it. We built some in sticks, and I'm like, this is what it's gonna look like. And we talked about it for years. That was the only thing I was gonna do with my life is build him some churches. So I want number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and a whole bunch of other ones. Now, not one time
coming to a city near you.
Right. Now, as I got older and things changed, Grandpa did go on to glory, and then I was like, okay, but it's me and Grandma. Me and Grandma are gonna do it. And it just got to the point. I did go through a season, and because it felt heavy. It was so heavy because I'm like, I gotta take on the church. I gotta build another church. I gotta build, and I'm like, I'm not even the pastor. you know, and I'm like, okay, but it took somebody. We did a revival in a man camp. I wrote it in the book, but the revivalist had never met him before. He
Mhm.
said, you're carrying a load that doesn't belong to you.
Ooh.
It's your responsibility.
Ooh.
And I mean, tears, but it was almost like somebody took something off my shoulders.
The weights were released.
But I was sad about it.
hmm
Like, although it was lifted, I was sad that that was not my responsibility. That's what me and Grandpa been planning for years. You know, but I was stuck more on the grandpa dream and the grandpa thing versus, okay, God, what do you want me to do?
Absolutely.
Never ever did I ask.
Mm.
I just assume, and I think we kind of do that with pastors' kids. It's almost like this is what God wants you to do. I'm the pastor. That just automatically means it goes to you, but that is not automatic.
It's not the thing. And
It's
and
not.
let me just say, with my children, I struggle because Daddy's been called to the marketplace, and I'm like, that ain't God. You ain't finna be. But she's led more people to Christ. In her marketplace, she has led more people to Christ. Working at the casino, she has saved more lives. Baby, and the people be like, baby, I was tore up, but your baby ministered to me. I was drunk. Your baby got me a Uber home. I'm like, you better come on and work in the marketplace, sis. But I was like, that ain't Jesus. But same mission, same God, same faith, same Lord, same baptism, different avenue, different genre on how God wants to bring it to pass.
You mean somebody in that avenue?
Yes.
Because we and I'm just saying we as in general, not like necessarily you and I, but we are preaching and teaching to recycled saints. They know the word, and we steady back. Come on back to Jesus. Come on.
Right.
Let's go get the people outside that don't know.
Yes, please. So he literally snatched me out cold turkey. All of my people are upset because this is what we do. Some Thursdays, some Fridays, some Saturdays. But the Lord saved me, sanctified me, and filled me with his precious Holy Spirit to the utmost. Me and him.
Wow.
Me and him. Nobody praying and laying hands on me. Me and him.
Right.
Me and him. And I'm like, ooh. And my mission became, I got to tell people God can do it to the utmost.
To the utmost.
Because we be in here playing like he need our help.
For real.
Come on.
For real.
Come on. No.
Like we doing him a favor. Like,
come on. He got it.
What inspired you to create the group?
Necessity. Okay. Women need a safe place to just be, because we have to be on 10 everywhere else. I mean, social media is so, we just out there, and everybody has to be so perfect and so this. We needed a safe place to say, okay, I'm not feeling so perfect today. I need prayer today. Today is just not a good day for me. Or can someone encourage me? Can someone pour into me? Can someone lighten the load that I am carrying? So I wanted to create that space. And even though we're over 700 women, it's still very intimate when we come together on the lives. The women are so excited just to be a part of a real sisterhood.
Right.
Not a fake sisterhood.
Right.
Come on.
So there are fake ones.
Come on. Absolutely. Right. So to be a part of a real sisterhood.
Right. And I love that. And it makes me, which is why I joined, not just because it was you, but I believed in the purpose in which you started it. But it's so aligned with Sisters Cafe. That's exactly what Sisters Cafe is. It's no judgment, no backbiting, no slandering, no none of that. It's just support. We're here to encourage, uplift, educate, support, and pray for each other with the understanding that when my sister wins, I win. And that's what it's about. So it doesn't matter what you come in here and saying, because you're allowed to say it. There's people in there, when I'm saying people, but ladies who don't have the chance to say, well, my husband is doing this and my children are driving me crazy. You know, at one point we couldn't say things like our children are driving me crazy, or I like this one, but I don't like that one. But in Sisters Cafe, you get to say that, because one thing I'm not going to do is pretend, I love all my children the same. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No,
You got that favorite.
You don't even like that one. But, I thought about that. I used to try to say, what's wrong? I thought something was wrong with me. Why? Number one is number one. That's my number one.
Mhm.
I feel like we grew up together. I had to learn what to do with him. I called him my test baby, because oh, we can't do that. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to do that to you. Oops, right. Oops.
Won't do that again.
Right. So on the second one, I didn't do that. No. Oh, I can't do that. Okay. So then the third one, and we did that, but there was such a different love between my first and my second and my third.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. I love them all. And I will lay down my life for my kids. I will, especially when they were little. But it was just a different endearing. So when people used to say, no, you have to love all your kids, I used to start to think something was wrong with me.
No.
So I made this place so people can be 100% real.
100%.
First of all, stop acting like you came out the womb saved, because you didn't.
Right.
We are saved in church for so long that we forget where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
And then we forget that other people are coming that way. So we're looking down at them, or we're judging them, or we're forgetting that such were some of us.
Yes. And that same grace that we needed, we need to show other people. Absolutely.
And
give
why
them
don't
the grace. Mm-hmm.
Why do you think we don't show the same grace that we need, not just then, but even now?
Ooh, a lot of reasons. And I'll just give just a few. One of which is we get spiritual amnesia. We forget that we were once in that valley experience. We forget that we were once broken. We forget, and you're enjoying the limelight, but you forget, your past. You've kind of blocked it out.
Right.
But and you don't want to be transparent because you don't want to be judged. So that's one of the reasons that we don't show that grace that we should. And then, pride can creep in. Pride is very sneaky, very sneaky. And you have to be really careful so that you don't end up walking in pride like you have arrived.
Yes, and we do have to be careful. But we do. If y'all don't take anything else away, give someone else the same grace.
Same grace.
It's with loving kindness that we are drawn.
Exactly.
Give people the same grace. Spiritual amnesia. Yeah, I like that. I like that, because and it's weird, because if you talk to people, you really think they did forget. You have to remind them where they came from.
Yeah, they've gotten so high and so mighty, and they have all these titles and these platforms, and and like you said, unfortunately, they look down on other people who are struggling, who may not have arrived, and in the way that they have, who's still on the climb. So you can't ever get too proud of yourself or too big headed. You can't ever think that you have arrived, because we're all a work in progress, and we are all on different levels. I did a teaching on the valley, the climb, and the mountaintop.
Okay.
Just because you're on the mountaintop, don't forget about your sister who may be struggling in the valley, because you were once there before. So
and you know what it feels like.
And you know what it feels like. Right. So where is your compassion? Where is your compassion for that sister?
And you know what? Forgive me. The first question I should have asked you is, what's in your cup?
Since I'm at the cafe, yes. I was like, do I want to bring a teacup or do I want a tumbler? But I was feeling real fancy. So I put some water in a fancy glass. So yes.
Okay. Because that's the real importance here of the question here. But yeah, so I'll have the sisters, if y'all haven't, go ahead and order your tumbler. Go to www.sisterscafeinc.com and order your tumbler now. Usually you should have water, like Dr. Faith, but I'm rocking me some mocha iced coffee today. Yes, I like coffee.
And I'm getting me a tumbler. I am getting me a tumbler. But yes, I just got some water and in my
but it's pretty.
That's
You make
just how
people want to drink water.
drink some water. Be cute and drink some water, girl.
And for our audience, y'all, tell me what you're drinking.
Yes,
Your favorite
I love
cafe beverage. What? Go grab your cups and then come back. Put it in the comments. Your cafe
what's
beverage,
in your
please.
cup, girl. I love it. I love it. This is so awesome. We're all in the cafe, and
We are.
comments. I see my beautiful first lady is on here. Hello,
Yay.
beautiful. Yes, one of my sisters is on here. So yes, welcome to the cafe. We up in here, y'all.
We up in here, and shout out to Anita. Hey, Anita. The love of my life is on here. Y'all give Pastor Brown a hand for hanging out in the cafe with his wife.
We see you, Pastor. We see you. Yes.
He is my hype squad today.
I love it.
So we are talking about how bad do you want it? And one thing that came to mind was Jacob wrestling with that angel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the story where I'm not letting you go till you bless me.
I'm not letting you go until you bless
I don't care what you do to me. I don't care what's coming my way.
We go toe to toe.
Right. I'm not letting you go until you bless me. And that there is the attitude that we need to take. When we say it's a lot of things we want. A lot of things that we're saying we want to do, we want to accomplish. We got goals we want to meet, but we don't want to do anything for it.
Yes.
So
true.
It's just a wish. If you keep talking about it, it doesn't become an action until you do something about it, right?
Exactly.
So what gives you your drive? Like, where do you get it from? What makes you get up every morning and say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do? Even because we know certain things don't always work out. Things don't work out I don't think anything in my life, has worked out the way I planned it to.
That's it. Because that is where we run into the problem right there. My plan didn't work out the way I thought my plan was supposed to work out for my life. You know, we got that wrong pronoun up in there. So when we start to align ourselves with God's will, because I always say you either in his will or you're in his way. Which one is it going to be? Which one is it going to be? So once we humble ourselves and align ourselves with the will of God for our lives, that's when the how bad do you want it comes in, because the it that God has for you, I promise you, is not the it that you have for yourself. But that is the it that's going to get you your victory. That is the it that's going to get you your breakthrough. So when you become aligned and you focused on that it, that is when the opposition comes. Because the enemy does not want you to have that it.
No.
Outside, why you worry when you know that he gonna make a way? I done seen him make a blessing like 100 ways. Everybody got a time, a dog gon' have a day. Only running to the Lord, I never run away. Curving him, demons try to get me, but I'm swerving him. Circling, target in my flesh, I had to murder him. Satan only come to steal your joy just like a burglar. Smirking him, I know he got it covered like a pergola. We go ahead and knock it out the park and turn the bases. You was walking faith and started running out of patience. I sat at the table with my plate, I'm saying gracious. We cast all our cares, forget your past. Turn the page. I say, yeah, buddy, rolling like a big shot.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for going down the timeline of 2025 with me and my guests. We have so much in store for you for 2026. So make sure that you stay connected. If you haven't, go subscribe to the website, to the YouTube channel. Catch me every Wednesday for Woman Crush Wednesday on Power Influence Radio, and every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Daily Faith Network. You can stay connected on all these platforms and podcast platforms. I'll see you again next year for another segment of Sisters Cafe.
Just call me. I'll be there. It don't matter. Just say